Welcome, everybody. The Hate Napkin, brought to you by Regal Prince. All right, folks, this is the Hate Napkin. I am your co-host, Arik. We are joined by special guest star, Carla from
Corn, Alabama.
where apparently Omicron is so bad they have to wear masks indoors. And Carla, of course, is the editor-in-chief at the local Dairy Queen and the manager of the local, wait, what are you now?
I don't think it matters because right now it's 4 degrees outside and this program is being sponsored by Sofa King, where it's not just cold, it's Sofa King cold.
Oh, we got a third sponsor, folks. We were just rolling in the dough. But in case you want to add to that dough, please head on over to Anchor FM and sponsor the Hate Napkin. Please send us some coinage your way. Take it away if we have any mail this week. I hope we have some mail.
I got a lovely letter from a lady named Kim, who is also in South Carolina.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And
Kim.
she wrote, hang on a second, because I couldn't find it there for a second. She wrote, I hate fireworks.
Oh my God.
Not all fireworks, the ones people blow up at home, as if their personal choice to blow things up is more important than the safety and comfort of everyone around them. Smarter states require a license for fireworks and limit them to professional shows, not located in residential neighborhoods. And there you go. But I did have to write back to Kim.
Okay.
And this was my response to her. I said, welcome to 2022, where many of my neighbors decided that blowing shit up in the middle of the night would be a fine way to ring in the new year as well. There was nothing that says America like having my next door neighbor blow up a half a stick of dynamite right outside my bedroom window. Cats scattered, Gus the dog peed in the middle of the bedroom floor. And of course, I didn't know that until I got up and slipped in the puddle. After the last 2 years, what a great way to start 2022. I don't think Alabama can ever be confused with smarter states. So if my bet was expecting any controls on fireworks in residential neighborhoods or a snowball's chance in hell, I'm betting on the snowball. So we're going to induct Kim into the Hate Napkin Hall of Fame. And she is from South Carolina. She says that's also not one of the smarter states. And as our co-host well knows. And so there you have it. So what's your thought on fireworks at midnight?
Number one, I totally agree that I think Kim in South Carolina becomes the first official inductee into the Hate Napkin Hall of Fame. Kim, that's such a grandiose, listen, I don't even think we need another, that's it. We're just going to talk about this today. Fireworks from the fucking neighbors. Okay, let's go. So just so that you know, whenever you're listening to this, dear listener in your mother's basement in Wichita, we are recording this on January 2nd. So the last 2 days have been nothing but, yes, I confirm from Kim, nothing, and Carla, nothing but fireworks from redneck dumbass neighbors. I hate fireworks. I think the top of my list. Okay, number one, webinars. What was it, Pauly? Infant death syndrome.
Sudden infant death syndrome.
Sudden infant death syndrome used to be number 2, but I'm bumping it down to number 3 for neighbors lighting fireworks during 4th of July and New Year's Day. Absolutely, and I've got so many stories to tell here. In a nutshell, here's how I feel about it. But if you break it down, it's people throwing fire, exploding fire, shrapnel on their own. If you were to replace the fire with something else, if you said, on New Year's Day and New Year's Eve, most Americans go out and throw small knives up into the air randomly to celebrate the new year. This would have been outlawed. I mean, can you imagine? In Tuscaloosa, it is common, celebration on 4th of July to go throw ninja stars randomly in the streets. at people's homes. I mean, this it would have been outlawed a long time ago. You can think of any number of other things that are like, in New Year's Eve, people put babies in the middle of the road and drive SUVs dangerously close to them. I mean, there is no reason for fireworks to be legal at this point in time.
Well, they weren't in New York when I was growing up. They were being illegally brought in by the Mafia, and I know this because they were family friends, close family friends. That I was a kid.
By the way, THN, the Hate Napkin today is sponsored by the Mafia, Ruby Red Beer, and Regal Prince.
But really, my basically best friends growing up, he would beat me with a baseball bat when I'd go over to visit his house. So he would be chasing me with the baseball bat, and then my mom would be like, "Oh, did you have a fun time over at Jamie's?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, it was great." But I was like just dodging these like baseball bat thing. But again,
Louisville Slugger Day.
Right. But it was like my best friend, and it made me more of a man. Like I would be a bigger pussy today if it wasn't for that experience. And I saw him years later, like maybe 5, and he's like, "Oh yeah, my dad used to smuggle in the fireworks, and I'm kind of do that." And I was like, yeah, your dad used to bring in the fireworks into Long Island and stuff. And great family, I love them. My best friend growing
But no,
up.
I mean, here, that's my point. That's my point. Is if your holiday is celebrated by something that has to be smuggled in by the Mafia, it's
Okay, yeah.
really not something that's worth our while. Can we all?
But
I
my point is, was bigger danger just from a baseball bat than a firework ever with that family. It was never I was never worried about.
Okay, well, actually, back to my analogy. Imagine that Americans celebrate 4th of July and the New Year by running around and hitting each other with Louisville Sluggers.
But
that
yeah.
also would be illegal.
Well, Bo, I have to tell you that nothing would be more American than that.
Well, that's true. Baseball, apple pie, hot dogs, and Chevrolet. Okay, so let's instead imagine a celebration where, baseball, we run around chasing each other with Louisville Sluggers, apple pie, maybe pies to the face, hot dogs. They're made out of things that really nobody should eat. I'm surprised we're not all dead. And Chevrolet, we just run each other's down with Tahoes. Understanding that both New Zealand and Australia have made the lighting of fireworks illegal, by the way. So, as goes New Zealand and Australia should go the rest of the world. It's kind of like in the United States, as goes California. Here's a couple of reasons why I really am opposed to dithering idiots lighting explosive shrapnel shredding devices in the neighborhood randomly to celebrate the New Year and, of course, 4th of July. I was at a 4th of July celebration outside of Chicago about 20 years ago. I don't know if you guys know what an M80 is.
Oh yeah, I've tried to. Yeah,
it's a firework that really actually belongs on the fields of battle in Afghanistan.
It's a quarter stick of dynamite.
Right, exactly. Well, and said M80 was supposed to go up into the air. For those of you on YouTube, that's up. Instead, it went out. Not up, but out. And landed about 6 feet away from my fiance. So, and we were both standing at the time. I saw said, IUD. That's not intrauterine device.
That's IED.
Okay, sorry. Definitely not one you want to stick near your uterus, folks.
That's a story for another time for me.
That was the exploding uterus is a totally different hate napkin item. I saw the M80 sitting there. It's about to go off. My fiance is standing. I did sort of the brave comic book strip thing as I grabbed her and threw her out in the middle of it. No, I'm kidding. I grabbed her and shielded her, and basically, to my memory, I basically threw her away as far as I could, which I should have just kept walking. That relationship ended badly. But I threw her away as a safety measure, and then sort of was in the full frontal blast view. It went off, and I went like 6 feet in the air. It threw me up, and I'm a big dude. It threw me 6 feet in the air, probably 6 feet away. I mean, it was like a concussive grenade, no different. And I mean, I woke up several minutes later. I had no hearing for 3 days. I could not hear whatsoever. But I had a vague idea of what had just happened. People were sort of gathered around me to see if I was okay. And of course I was not. And I couldn't hear anything, but I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? And I went off in search of the moron who had lit this, and people sort of just guided me with pointed fingers to the idiot that had launched this thing. And I found him. It was some scraggly teen. And I just grabbed him by the lapel, lifted him in the air, and then carried him basically to the nearest police officer. On the way, I'm deaf, going, "Oh, citizens arrest!" That sounded like Arik. This is a citizens arrest. So I basically threw him down in front of the cop and said, "This guy just lit an M80 in front of me. I've made a citizen's arrest." The cop just looked at me like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm serious. I can't hear this guy lit an M80 off. That threw me there." My memory is that they tossed the kid out of there. And I basically wandered around the Chicago metro area for 3 days until my hearing returned.
Well, I will say you've never been the same since.
What? But 2 years ago I had a colleague. This is a true story. She had her infant in her lap, and she went to go watch a neighborhood fireworks display. Again, I think this is 4th of July, not New Year's, but like she just had handed off her infant to her husband when a firework landed in her lap and blew up. And she was in the burn ward in Georgia for like weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, there are so many stories of people who have lost.
That could prevent having another fucking toddler.
Yeah, this is Malthusian population control. Just expose everybody to fireworks.
I think anyone that's had a child would kind of prefer an M80 blowing off in there.
Oh, that I can't speak to that. I've watched that process in person. I don't know. That's a tough call. Actually, birthing a child versus an MA goading, I think that's pretty equivalent. I think they're pretty equivalent.
Yeah, but after an M80, you don't have the fucking man-child that you have to deal with for 40 years.
But okay, again, let's put it in its place. So instead of Americans celebrate 4th of July and New Year's by putting birthing women in a field and everybody going and staring at it. I mean, that's basically.
Yeah, I think the new tradition is an M80 in the vagina.
Hello.
And.
Hello.
Well, I pretty much had one in the urethra, so I mean I don't see at the top of the list though. I think our neighbors lighting fire. And then, listen, we've got pets. Listen, we already talked about Carla's Gus leaving a puddle of pee. I've got animals that are absolutely scared to death, and then we've got literally. I mean, this isn't a joke. Millions of vets who have PTSD, who their least favorite days of the year are July 3, 4, 5, and December 31, January 1 and 2. Why should we have to put these people through this again? Can't we find a more subtle way to celebrate?
They get a 50% off oil changes. They're fine.
Right. This is the price to pay for 30% off of your dry cleaning.
They got deals. They don't even have to wait to get on the airplane. They get on the airplane first. Come on, they're fine.
Okay, well, okay. I think maybe that's the caveat we should add. In order to get, while they're getting on the airplane first, we should, they should have to go through a bunch of sparklers and cherry bombs. Okay, here's the deal. We're gonna give you the discount. It's a whopping discount. It's 50% off your dry cleaning. But while you're at the desk, we're gonna light cherry bombs all around you.
Man, I'd go dirty for that.
You've gone dirtier for less.
Well, this part's true, but you know, I thought we were not going to talk about my past.
The Hate Napkin is sponsored by Ruby Red Beer. Shove it down your throat. And Regal Prints. That's www. Oh, we hate the W's. RegalPrints.com. That's RegalPrints.com for all of your signage needs in the Midlands. If we could only get Regal Prints to do the signage for Ruby Red Beer, we got to work.
And Sofa King.
Oh, that's right. And so it's Sofa King. So fucking what?
Because right now it's because fireworks are so fucking loud and so fucking dangerous.
Okay, so
think about this. Think about this, Arik. What is more American than blowing shit up and you know, doing it really loud? It is the most American thing.
Well, no, I think the most American thing is blowing things up in other countries.
Well, but this is our celebration of blowing things up in other countries.
No. But the most American thing is to go abroad to blow things up.
I know, but you know,
we have minor celebrations here of the macro of the world as large. Basically, we have set them. Here's another reason why I don't like fireworks, and I think this is just gonna be the fireworks episode. I had the ridiculous honor of being in Jerusalem for the 3,000th anniversary of the city way back in 1996. They celebrated only like it was a celebration unlike anything you could imagine. I was in Jerusalem. I was living on the old city wall, so I was sitting there with my legs drooped over Suleiman's wall, while about 5-6 blocks away, the Israeli Philharmonic Orchestra with Yitzhak Perlman played to an 1.5-hour long display of fireworks that truly scared every Palestinian within 1,000 miles. It was a display of fireworks that I can't even begin to describe its magnitude and magnificence. It lasted an 1.5 hours. Every time you thought the thing had crescendoed, it was like tantric sex with Sting. Every time you thought you were close to the end, it would just go all over again. I was sitting underneath an ancient cemetery, a several thousand-year-old cemetery, this was August in Jerusalem, in Israel. It was totally in flames and on fire. In fact, from our perspective high up on the hill, you could see fire trucks driving all over the city. This fireworks display practically lit the city on fire. It got to be, after about 45 minutes, a terrifying thing. You actually did feel like you were in the middle of an artillery barrage. And I was starting to wonder if they were just taking out the Golan Heights while celebrating. It was unbelievable. In fact, I recently archived the videotape. I found the old VHS and put it on digital. And my daughter watched it on tape. Just on tape, some 20-some years later, a faded VHS. She was like, "This is crazy." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I sat right underneath the whole thing." It was the biggest, most magnificent display of fireworks in the history of humanity. So, like, when the neighbor lights off 3 cherry bombs now, or, you know, the city puts on a little fireworks display, I'm like, I want to see it.
Right.
See something truly like the most superlative version of the thing that you can find in the whole world. Anything that comes after, it's like Charlie Duke, the famous astronaut who, of course, walked on the moon. He spoke to at my chapel at my high school when I was a lad, and he said, "Listen, you know, when I came back from the moon, I kind of looked at myself in the mirror and said, well, what now? when you've been to the moon. So here's your lesson, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages. When you've seen something so spectacular, so if you're an astronaut and you go to the moon, it's like, okay, well, what do I do now? I've seen spectacular hate now.
Although I will tell you, I did get a follow-up letter from our friend Chris.
Oh, okay. Yes, I remember.
I realized there are more things that I hate, and I realized this a long time ago, but I felt it was polite to put more introduction in first. So today's hate is "We buy houses" signs. Whomever puts them up thinks they're entitled to advertise themselves using property that is certainly not theirs, which they almost certainly have not obtained permission to use. I hate it when they get pitched up in street intersections as if the spaces around them were untapped advertising potential and not for, street signs and traffic lights. Someone even loaded up the corner of an elementary school near my house. Even worse, one's been placed on a traffic sign on I-126 heading into Columbia. Nobody can read your tiny sign from 40 feet away at 60 miles an hour beyond houses, you feckless simpleton. That's why signage is way bigger than most people realize. The handwritten ones manage to be extra appalling somehow. The other thing I hate is when people on Teams, Arik's recent hate toward it reminded me, just say hello. They all want something from me besides pleasant conversation. They're perfectly capable of describing what they need. I should not have to help them express what they want before I go and do the thing. I just want to reply, try it now, to see how many times I can do it before they realize they haven't bothered to tell me what the problem is.
All right, so
that's good.
Chris from, if I'm not mistaken, that's Chris formerly from Armpit, New Jersey, now in Armpit, South Carolina, right? It's funny, guy. Chris, as you listen to this, you stole one of my hate napkin things I have on here. People who put "will buy houses for cash" signs out that are handwritten.
Well, and this kind of ties into the Israelis taking the Palestinians' land, and this is like it all came together, Chris.
Will you usurp your land? Will you usurp your land for no cash?
Will you?
Steal your land for no money. I think jumping on Chris's thing there, I think what cracks me up about those signs the most is we'll buy houses for cash signs that are handwritten. I mean, if you got the cash, can't you at least spend $25 at regalprints.com? That's regalprints.com to get all of your will buy houses for cash signs. Anywhere in the world they can ship those, folks. Even if you're if you're in Copenhagen, if you're anywhere in a Palestinian territory, will still houses for cash. Go to all those your signage needs at. But maybe we can connect Jerry over at Regal Prints to the Knesset. This has been the Hate Napkin. We have, of course, we want to hear all the things that you hate. In fact, today's entire episode was written on 2 emails from Kim in South Carolina and Chris formerly from Armpit, New Jersey. They sent their hate to info@thehatenapkin.com. That's info@thehatenapkin.com. Those letters will eventually trickle down in Reaganomic succession down to Carla there in Burnt Corn. We also have social media presences on the Book of Face, Instagram, and Twitter. And we want you to follow us on Anchor, especially Anchor FM, and you can find us on Spotify, Audible, what else? All the other, any podcast platform on planet Earth, folks, you can find the Hate Napkin. So thank you again for joining us as we trek down the intrepid annals of hate.